So we're ready to record MIDI. Now sometimes I like to actually send a MIDI signal back out to a module, like a rack or a keyboard, like a motif or a Triton, and send the MIDI information out and then record the audio back into my system. So before I get started, I want to go to my external instrument. I want to create an external instrument, which is right here. Now I can grab this. I'm going to take it into this drop files and devices right here. And this device does appear right here, as you can see. External instrument. Now I need to set this up, but first I want to explain this external instrument. This means it's going to send MIDI from here out to some other source. So I have the instrument selected here, as you can see, all ins, and this includes the aux Pro and the computer keyboard, and also as well my Digitized Mbox 2, which you can see right there. I can configure it. I can also say I just want to get one, and just want to get that. But no, because I'm going to take it from all channels, it doesn't matter. I can also stipulate the specific MIDI channel that I want to take the data in from. Anywhere from 1 to 16, as you can see right here. In this case, we've pressed all. And all will be the output, will be the input, and send the output as well. So that means it's going to send this out directly to that device. Now, I have here, as you can see here in my device title bar, that this device now appears down here in my device. And so I'm going to go here. And you'll notice I have nothing to configure, so I need to configure it. So I'm going to go ahead and configure it. And here comes the preference window. See, so rather than having to go up to the top to live, I can also configure it right there through MIDI 2. So it's sending MIDI out of live to that keyboard or rack or even that MPC drum machine, whatever it is. And so here we'll see the tops of all these inputs, right? And here I have the outputs. So I want to select the output from here. And I want hyper control, of course, and the output here may have output some controller as well. I may have the Pro control here. I may have the Mbox 2 Pro port here. Okay? So I'll close this window. And now we'll go back here to MIDI 2. And we'll see that those items are now appear in our list of choices. We have the aux Pro 61, of course, the output of that, the hyper control, and the control from the Mbox 2 Pro and the port 1 as well. I can pick which one I want to pick. So I can say, for example, I may just want to use this port 1. And once I do, you'll notice below that, I now can select which MIDI channel I'd like to use, if I want to use that at all. So now we're pretty much, so you can see here, we have our audio from. See this? So I can select the audio is coming in from where. I can select that total, so the audio is going to come in from someplace else. So this way I can monitor that audio that comes in as that MIDI hits that instrument. It will play the specific sound that's on that instrument, and we'll be able to hear that back through our external instrument as well. And we have a gain, as you can see here. You hear a little noise come up, and we can lower the gain also. And we can also control our hardware latency right here, as you can see. And I can use this slider to compensate the latency of the external hardware or even rewire instrument. We're ready to start MIDI recording. We went through some of the ins and outs, how to put an external track together, and now what I'm probably trying to do here is just set it up and get us going. So as you can see here, I already have the Sakai devices right here, and this is my device view, as you can see right here. I'm going to click here, and this is my clip view. So here, and I'm ready to go, I'll click this button. But first I want to make sure that when I get here, I want to right click this and make sure that we are set for a 1-bar countoff. We are. And now that that's set up, I'm good to go. So now to start recording, I'm going to select it right here. Now you notice these are like little circles now, you can see that, and they sort of like enlarge as you put the cursor on top of the circle. I'll go here to where it says record, the record button, and unclick that. Now they become these stop buttons, as you can see, and no more animation to them. So I want you to be aware of that too as well. Now go back here to arm the session for recording. This track is ready to be recorded upon, and we have our Akai 808 drum set ready to go. So I'm going to start recording. I'll click here and get a 1-bar count off. and I'll press the space bar to stop. Now you see we've got our session recorded here already. So it's pretty good. We've got our tracks lined up and we're ready to start recording. I'll scroll down, and here now we can see that I'm using the kick drum long, and we're using this rim shot right here. And you see it right there. Now what I want to do is set up so it can be a quick loop. So I'm going to go here to the editor. I'm going to make it so it's just set up for a 2-bar loop. So I'm going to go to right here where it's at 3, the beginning of 3. That's just 2 bars. If I want to do the beginning of 5, that'd be 4 bars, and so on. And that's how we set up our loop within Live. Now I can play that back. And we see it's looping. Just want to make sure it's going to loop. Next, I want to overdub maybe a hi-hat. Let me find a hi-hat here or something. Got a hi-hat I like. Now, I'm going to go up here to this OVR, which is for overdub. I select overdub. Now I'm able to overdub in the track. You notice also here, this clip is playing now, and there is this arrow signifying the usual item that once played, this clip will play. And it's green also as well. So now, I can press play the space bar, and I can actually play the hi-hat over the track. Or I can turn off overdub and just play it and audition it. But for right now, I'm going to just record it. So I add a few more parts to it too. I'll hit the top again now. So we've recorded a MIDI track. And this is how it works. We've overdubbed, we've played the track through. So now I turn off overdub, I can audition sounds without even recording. So no overdub, and I'm able to audition sounds before I record. When I do want to record, I'll just select overdub, and I'm recording over that track. But one thing you'll realize too as well right now, that it doesn't sound quantized. You know, it's there, but it's sort of loose. It's not really tight, the tight feel you need to have when recording. So let's do that next. So now I'm going to go here, stop it, and we stop that. We're not going to record there. We're just going to stop this whole thing like that, and we're going to turn this off here. Good. And then we'll stop all clips. Right here. Good. And now what I want to do is I want to record a new track. So I'll make a new MIDI track. And actually, instead of doing that, I can just go over here and drag this in here. And obviously, Live remembers that this is a MIDI channel, and it's going to make a new MIDI channel for us. So this is actually a MIDI file I'm putting in here, a MIDI device rack I'm putting in here. It'll recognize that's okay. That's what it is. Remember that. If you're going to drag audio, it'll make an audio. If you're going to drag something to do with MIDI, it'll make a MIDI track. So now I have a MIDI track here. I'm doing a recording. But before I start that, I want to make sure I set the Quantize. So what I'm going to do the record Quantize, and here I can set up the parameters so I'm Quantize recording. Now I'm going to use probably 16th note to quantize it. So I'll select that. And now I'm ready to do 16th note quantize recording. So I'm on this track here. And next, as you can see here, there's no MIDI data here, but the device appears here. So I can click right here, and now I'll put my clip overview right there. Next, I'm set to record in this track, as you can see already. And I can click right here, and I can get started to record. I'll stop that. Then I'll play it back. Let's get back here first, and I'm going to scroll down a little bit so I know where I'm at right there, of course, and we'll play it back. That's much tighter. That's some hi-hats. But why we can't? Because we're over the line. So remember that. Undo this. I'm going to go back to the top here. I need to make it loop. So we're going to go back here to loop. We're going to set it up for right there, the 2-bar loop. Okay, now I press play again. So now we're in sync there. Now I can audition sounds. And I can play it. Now overdubs back in. I can play the sound here. So you can see we're quantized. Now it's playing in time to the beat. It's not loose. It's a very sturdy, heavy beat tied to the quantization. And now you're ready to record tracks. There are many ways to record in live, and not just using MIDI in the ways we've done so far. We can also record in live using our keyboard rather than using a regular MIDI keyboard, like my Auxium Pro that I'm using. So we can use our computer keyboard to record data in. And we can also do step edit. And here's how we do it. We're going to take this vintage drums right here. I'm going to take it and drag it here to the first slot in this MIDI track. And now we have the MIDI drum set up right there for us to see. So I'm going to make sure that the keyboard, see this right here is the keyboard, that's the computer MIDI keyboard is selected, it's on. I'm going to play keys A through K. So these keys are activating the sounds in this vintage, funky good time, as you can see right there. So now if I'm using these keys, I can also change the octave. And to do that, I can select Z. Now you know here in the lower menu right here in the bottom, under the info, you'll see the change. So now I'm going to C1 to D2. Now to go back up, I'll select X. I'm going to C2 to C3, C3 to D4, C4 to D5. So you can see I'm going right back down again. I'm back at C3 to D4. So we can change the octave on any one of the keys, of course. And I can also use, for velocity, I can use the C key. Selecting the C key, you see right here on the keyboard, the velocity is playing with 80%, and there's 60. So I'm decreasing the velocity with the C key. And to increase it, I'll use the V key, all the way up to 127. So we can make some pretty good changes here with just the keyboard commands here. Now to record, it's very simple, of course, as always it was before. I can go right here, I can get my count off, I can select here probably to look at this, and I can go to here, get my count off right here. And stop it. I can record those changes in, and you can see them right there. So it's pretty simple to do, just using your keyboard. We loaded in, of course, a device, and while recording, we can always change. These levels are all the same here too as well, so you can see my levels are all the same, and I can always adjust them too by just grabbing them with the cursor. I can also adjust the velocities also in this window as well. And that's how we can record using our keyboard. So it makes it much easier. Now, let's try it again. Let's undo this here. And let's go back in here and undo it. Good. And now what I want to do is I want to do a step mode record. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to right-click here in the window. I get this textual menu here, and you'll see it here. I'm going to go insert MIDI clip. And so it inserts a black MIDI clip for me right there, which makes it much easier. Now, if I want it to be longer here, what is this? Is like long enough? Maybe not long enough for me. So I may want to go back in here and extend it out. I want to get this 2-bar clip going on. So here we go to 3 right there. And there we go. So I can stretch that out, and I want to make it fit this whole window. So I'm going to go here and sort of stretch it out, and go to here and stretch it out a little bit more so it fits the entire window. And there we go. I can bring it up just a little bit more there. That's even better right there. It's perfect, actually. Perfect. I got the size. Now, also, if I want to change the grid here, I can right-click here and change my grid and get different grid values, as you can see right there. Now, if we can see it better, because I know it's getting cut off here by the screen, I'm going to go up here, and we're going to shrink it up a little bit so we can see a little bit better now. So now I'm going to go right in here, right-click, and we can see my grid values here, obviously. So I can change this grid value too as well. I can make it eighth note. See that? I can go right back in here again, and I'll change the grid value this time to 16th notes. So we can change our grid value easily. So now I'm ready to start recording here, step edit wise. And of course, you see I've activated my button right there to record. And here, of course, we've got our sound. So I can hit the pad. I'm actually hitting the A button. That's the A key on my keyboard, the S, T, F, G, H, J, K. And it's activating the sound. So we know that already. So let's go back here. And what I can do here is I can hit that A button and move the arrow over. So I move the arrow over, and now I got that first kick drum. I can click my right arrow again, and I create a space. I can hit A again, and move the arrow again. Now you also notice the velocities here are where they are. I can always change my velocity too as well. I may just want to change the velocity. So, well, look, I'm going to go with a higher velocity. So now I'm at 100, and then I can go get a space. I may want to do the S key. And a space I'm right there. And you see the velocity change there. This velocity has changed here. It's 100 now. Here before it was 80. Okay? Now I go over another space. I can maybe go one more space. Let's say I'll put a kick drum here. And then click the right arrow. So it's pretty simple. You can actually put everything in a space. You can see how it works. It's pretty quick to go once you get the swing of it. And it's a lot easier to do than I thought it would be when I first checked it out, when I checked out the manual for it. But it makes it much easier for you to do this sort of step edit and get to hear it back and play it back and get an idea of what you're doing in your track. So I can go again. Of course, just moving the arrow one time will give me a space again, and I can do it again in a space. I hit the S and do it again. If I want to make it longer, I can just hold that S down, and there's longer, see? So that was to say a MIDI note, I made that much longer than it was before. Now, another way to put the step edit information in, besides using the keyboard, which can be kind of like a little bit longer than you think it could be, you got to go up here, and we need to use this draw method. We're going to hit this tool here, and now we've accessed the tool. And now we could draw it in. We can say, okay, I'm going to draw some stuff in here. So I may want to go to these hi-hats and find out where they are now. There they go right there. So I can go to here, put one in here, and they snap right together. See, I'm just snapping them in there, snapping them in, snapping them in, snapping them in. And they go on pretty quickly. That's pretty cool. And if I want to, I can go right here, so I can just draw it out. So what I'm doing, how I'm doing that? What I'm doing here, I'm going to do that, is I go here, I can click on it, and if I can press Command. So I can press Command, then click, then drag. Okay? And get it to be the right size I want it to be. So, there are other ways to actually do this, which makes it really great. I can also, move the snaps to grid. It makes it much easier to do. And as you can see, you can just draw everything in, or you can use your keyboard. But this is how we can do step edit. As I said before also, I can always change the velocity. I can bring it down. I can go down a couple, put another one in here, and you'll see it's down. And you'll hear it as you hit it too, whether it's up or down. And it makes it much easier to work with. And I can play this back from the top back here. And you get an idea. You made a little beat without having to use the metronome and play it live. We did it using step edit. Now I want to use live with a plugin and show you some other features we can use in MIDI and even with audio as well. Now here I'm in live and I'm going to have a MIDI track right here. And I'm in the plugins folder, as you can see here. This is my live device, then plugins. And I'm going to grab this. First, make sure I'm right here in MIDI. I'm going to grab machine. And I put it right here. Let go. And I want to put machine right here in this MIDI track. And see, this is machine now. That's good. So here we have machine. And this is a software from Native Instruments. So next what I want to do is I'm going to go to let's see, urban here. I've got a little, here it is right here. Little project I want to do right here, perfect. I've got these tracks set up here for machine for us to use. So first of all, I've got this first track right here, which I intend to take and use as a MIDI file. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to, let's see, close this out. What I want to do next here is I want to make a MIDI track. So I'm going to go to Shift, Command, and T, and we made a MIDI track. I'd Shift, Control, and T on a PC. Now what I want to do is I want to import probably a MIDI sequence, put it right here. So what I'm going to do first of all here is I'm going to go back to machine. Now to bring machine back up, as you can see, I go right here. It's sort of closed out. So I have to go right down here to this machine, and this will open up the plugin window. And there it is right there. Good. And there's our plugin again. So now what I'm going to make sure that when I'm exporting this, that this motherboard kit will be the right configuration. We go here to Sound MIDI Batch Setup. Okay. I want to make sure that I'm going to set this up as sounds to MIDI notes, like a drum machine. Now I'll press apply. Next, I'll go back here, and I want to do an export. I can do an export and export it somewhere. But maybe not. Let me just do a drag. So I can drag it. So I'm going to go here into machine. I have enough room. I'm going to drag this out. So I'm dragging that way up here, right here into the track. And now it's right there. So I drag the MIDI file here. I'm going to go down here to the MIDI file editor right here and grab it. And you see the files right here for us to see. And this is the file here. So now, what I can do here, let me hit one of these pads here. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to go back to the machine. And I want to pretty much solo this, just get an idea of what's going to go on, make sure I know what's happening with this one track. And next, click on this MIDI track here. And what I want to do now is set this up to work with machine. So we got MIDI to machine. And now I want to come back here. Now I'm going to test it. So I'm not getting anything here because I need to start this. So go to here. So we see it going here. So I can see it going on here in my MIDI editor. See that? Okay, that works pretty good. So now I'm going to go back to machine. I won't need this anymore. I'm going to take this out. So I'm going to get rid of this file there. And I'm going to go back to here and play it back. So I see I didn't transfer all the files properly. So I'm going to go right here. And I'm going to write something in. So I grabbed this pencil from right here. I pulled it down here. I'm going to go right back in here and write a little kick drum here. And this is a kick drum also, I believe. Yep, that's kick drum. Okay, great. So I'll play it back. Great. You see, we can actually dump files over and edit them back in. So I dumped that file straight off of machine. Then I drag it to the MIDI track, and obviously you can see it here. I pull it up as a MIDI track right there. And we see the file right now. So now I can just turn the solo off and play it. Now here in machine, you see that's not there anymore. The MIDI files aren't there. What's happening here is that the MIDI files are being played here in live. Here we have it, MIDI machine 1 to MIDI machine 1. So it's going right to the first track, which is the drum that's playing right there. So next, what I want to do now is I want to use another instrument. So I want to probably maybe import a MIDI file. So I'm going to do here next, I'm going to make another MIDI track. Shift, Command T. This track is up. And next what I want to do here is get a MIDI track. So I'm going to go here to my file folder. I got a file folder here. Here it is. MIDI files. Click on this. And I want to get this melody right here. So I want to grab this and put that there. Good. And now we can see the MIDI tracks for it right there. This is good. So next what I want to do here is I've got this set up here for this MIDI track. So I want to define this MIDI track also as well. And to do that, I'm going to go back in here and MIDI 2. See this here? So I'm going to set something probably MIDI 3. I'm going to put this on here first. And then go here. Good. So I can use MIDI 2. So I'm going to go ahead and MIDI 2. I'm going to use MIDI 2. Okay. So next, in order to play this back, I can play it right now and I'll solo it here. And we can play it back. And we hear nothing. Because we're going to use something else. We're going to use a sound that's in live. So go here on the MIDI track. And now I'm going to go to live and look for some instruments. Now here we are in the instrument rack. And I grab this, and I can go move my arrow down here and look for something here. I'm going to try this oboe. Rather than a flute. Let's try something different now. And go here. I want to show you something else here. We'll notice that this is my first machine track, right? And I'll click on that, and that says 1. And here is MIDI, right? And it says 2. So this is MIDI channel 2. Here's 3. And this is 3, okay? That's MIDI 3. So you'll see here, now I'm going to start to play this track. Now I want to set it to this woodwind right here. So that's going to be 3. That says 3. So I'm going to go here into this session here. And now I'm going to set it for 3. That's MIDI from 3. So I'm playing 3 now. So you see it. So by doing that, I already know it's going to go to 3 already. So I just put my woodwind here. Otherwise, that might have been 4. And this became an instrument track. And now I just take this, and now I say, well, look, this is already MIDI channel 3. So we're going to receive it from MIDI channel 3. And that's how it works. So now I'm playing those parts. Now I'll turn this off here. No need for the record here. And I'm going to go back to here. Yep, record's in good. Now, I'm just here. Okay, this is great. So what I want to do now is go back to machine. And here in machine, let's get machine back up. Okay, let's go back to machine, grab it here. And we'll know it's not on. So we need to go back here, exactly, and put it back in. Now here in machine, I have other parts too as well. I can turn this part on, I think. Let's turn this one on here. And we'll hear this. So I got a little piece right here that I want to use that's being interfered with by the other pieces. I'm going to take this piece out here a little bit. And I'm going to go to here, this part here. Let's get some interference going on. And I want to take it out. But what I'm going to do here is take out an audio track. So I'm going to go in here and grab it. So first I got it there. I'm going to go here. And I'm going to make sure that we're taking out the audio. See? Now to take the audio here, I didn't make an audio track, but watch this. So it's going to grab it, as you probably already know. It's grabbing, getting all the audio parts together. I'm going to bring it up here and put it right there. And now, as you can see, live made an audio track. And we can see the audio right here. So I'm going to click on it right here, of course. And I'm going to try to play it back. But first I got to turn it on, right? So that's really fast. That's crazy. So I grabbed the track and brought it in. I grabbed the audio and dragged it in here. So look, you see it's not fitting the tempo. And my tempo here up here is 106. And here, the implied tempo is 84. So what I want to do here is I want to maybe change this tempo around here. See, I want to go to about 106, I guess. Oh, that's good right there. So here I got it to there. So I want to make sure I can loop it up, right? So I'm going to bring it in here and bring it back to 3 right there. And that's my loop. Let's see if this works out. Get my level down. So we got that too much sound going, right? So we're going to go back in here to the machine and cut this off now. So I don't need it anymore. So we've got the tracks in. So we can grab audio and drag it right into the track. So I can do the same thing again. Let's go back to here. We're going to pull the machine back up. I'll click here. We're going to pull the plug-in window up. You get the hang of it now. And I'll go back here. And now I want to get this bass line. So I get the bass line here. I know this is audio, so I'm going to grab the bass line. I click on it here. I can get it down here. And we're going to go back here. We're going to make sure we can get an audio. It's set for audio. So what I'm going to do now is just drag and drop, right? Let's make enough room to drag and drop right there. And we'll drag it from here. It'll get the data while I press the mouse down and put it right here in the window. Bam, there it is. So now I got a bass line. It's right down here. I'll click on it. And you know something? We see the tempo right here, right? Sequence BPM. We don't want that. We want to go back to the same tempo. And so before I got right close to it there, I went to here. So, and that's pretty close. So I'm going to try this tempo right here. And this bass line should work. But first I'm going to go back on the machine, and then I'm going to cut this off. So I don't need that right now. So I'll click right there, and that track is off. I'm just going to play that mother track first. Now I'm going to close out machine. We'll just click here, matter of fact. We'll keep it in the front. I'm going to click on inside the window, and it's gone in the background. I'm going to go here. So I'm just bringing tracks in. I grabbed audio. We sort of changed the audio so it could fit within the tempo of the song. And we also fixed the MIDI tracks. So you see, this is pretty simple to use, but we have a lot of tracks here. And there's a lot going on here for one. And you can see when I'm playing some stuff here too. Like these two tracks sort of belong together because this is feeding that track. So I can turn these off, for example, and you'll see that these two tracks are feeding each other. I pull this off, we have nothing. Those two tracks belong together. So I'll grab this track here, and I'll grab the one, this track here, this machine track. I'll close machine, move my mouse here, and I'll press the button. Now what I can do here, if I have a lot of tracks, let's say, and they're coming from a particular sequence, or in this case, they're coming from a plug-in, I may go here and say group tracks to make it easier for me, you know? So I'll pull it down here and say group tracks. And now these two tracks are grouped together. If I want, I can just say, okay, close it up. I made more room. See, I made some room right there. I made some more room, totally. I didn't want this 3-track here to be here, so I can even go back and undo this. So I can go to here, undo groups, go back. I only want this track, and I only want this track. See? So go here again. I'm going to do the groups thing. And we still got the other one there again, so I guess this is part of it right now. But that's how we can group tracks up to make a little more room in the mix. And also, we had audio and MIDI. Now I want to talk about some more things here. I'll play it back, and I want to show you something here within Live. So this was 3, now it's 4, it's playing to over here now. What I normally will do is, instead of going through this MIDI track thing here, I will just put the woodwind there, and then put this here, and add it in. And then, I won't need this. So what's happening here is that the flute, of course, is playing itself right there, the flute, and here's the woodwind track right there, and the flute is playing within the track. So then again, there's no need for this MIDI channel 4 thing going on here. And of course, it's feeding the master. Now, so everything here is feeding the master output, as you can see. They're all going to the master. And let's suppose maybe I had something in my machine, as you can see here. So I got here, and let's say I wanted to like go to use machine. Here's machine right here, and I want to take machine out here, and I want to make machine do something else. So you can see what here also happens. Let's add a group 1. That's where this the 2 here in the group. This means a group. They're feeding to this main feeder here. Here's machine. I'll play it back. And it's playing back through here, and this MIDI track belongs to that. So they're feeding us just 2, and it's called this group of 2. Okay? So I've got that going on, and let's say I wanted to add another audio track. So I'd go here, I'm going to press Command T, and we have a new audio track right here, right? So it's a new audio track. Let me close this out here. Okay, so now you see that my new audio track is now part of the whole system here, right? So I can take this audio track here, we'll say, and I want to open up machine. And here's machine, open it up right here, and I may want to send something out of machine. I may want to send a particular output out of machine directly out of it to someplace else. And what I could do here is I could say, well, I've got this rhythm section here, for example. And I may want to send this directly out. So I would go to this track, let's say, for example, turn it on. And in machine, I'd say, okay, this is the rhythm. I'd go ahead and group. And I'd say, okay, I want to send an output to it. So I may want to send out output 2. I got to output 2. And then what I would do, I'd go right back into the audio track. And I would set this up for machine. Find machine here. And then I would set the output for 2 for machine. This is all about using routing and routing the audio out of a plugin. I'm going to take this plugin here, which is the machine, and we're going to load it here into this track right here for MIDI. I'm put it right over here, and let go, and let it load in to this track. We hope so. It took a little while to do that. But as it loads in, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the audio and send the audio out to separate tracks within Live. We're going to go right here, and we're going to head over to, let's see here. I'll pull this track back up here. And once it loads in, what I'm going to do is I'm going to route each of these outputs. Now here in machine, each one of these groups has an output. I go to group right here, and I have an output, and this output could be group 1, we'll say. So I go here in machine, and I'll make that output 1, okay? I'll go ahead to the next group, which is lead. Go to group, and here again, I'll make this output 2. So we keep going along here, and hopefully they're in the right position. This output 3. Hopefully they're all in the right position to make it easy for us here. And go to rhythm, and go to group, and this will be out of output 4. So most plugins, particularly these VST type plugins, which work for just about every software, will have an output. And so this one's going to be 5, and the last one here is going to be 6. Oops. Let's grab this here and go to group and make this output 6. Here we go, 6. Okay, good. So that's done. I'm going to probably close this window up here. And next what I want to do is I want to route these audio inputs. So I'm going to go here and see, it comes right up. There we go. I'm going to pull up machine right here. Mouse is moving crazy here today. There we got machine. Then here in the mixer, as you can see here, we have 1, 2. So I'm going to go to 2 here. All right? That'll be 2. And then the next one I'm going to do, of course, I need a couple more of these audio tracks. There we go. And I'll do the next one here. So I want to move this one over here to the top. So B, once you put them in, you got to know where you are. There we go. And this one here is going to be machine as well. And this will be audio output 3. And this one is machine. So I'm just putting the audio from that I'm giving in the output for each one of these outputs here. And this will be 4. And then the next one here will be 5. So make sure you do machine first, so where it's coming from. We want to name the device. This will be 5. And the last one here will be 6. We'll get machine first. And then here we'll put in 6, output 6 are going to be at. Okay, great. So now, in order to hear them back, we need to go to input monitor. So we're going to go in monitor in, monitor in, monitor in, monitor in, and monitor in. Now, see, press the button, they start playing back. And you see I can do 1 because 1's already coming in here on the top. Directly on top, it's like a MIDI and it's audio monitor in. It's coming in right here. So we're hearing that back automatically from 1. And if you notice also, that selection was not there when I went here to set the output. See? 1 isn't there. So 1 appears in that first track that I have right here for live. And you can see we've got these little microphones going right there. I can control the tempo here. And that's how we do it. So we can control that. And we can also, this works no matter what. We can still have sends. We can have verbs. We can tighten up some drum tracks if we'd like to. Let's say, for example, okay, that's a track right there. I may want to add a compressor here. So we'll click right there. We're going to go back into the live devices here. And next we're going to head towards the audio effects. Here are the effects, and I want to put a compressor. I'm going to pull a compressor up. And I want to get a nice drum compressor going here. So I could use at least maybe give a nice heavy sound to the drums. Let's pick any compressor for right now. Just for demonstration purposes, we'll try this compressed types compressor here. I'll put it right in there. And now it appears there. That compressor's right there. See the compressors right here. I can set my levels. I can raise levels also. Now I can unsolo this. Now another way, since these are all the same and they're from the same machine, what I really want to do maybe sometimes is group them up. So I did this before, we'll do it again. This way you can make room on your mixing console here as you're trying to look at the various items you have in your session view. I'm going to go here and I'm going to right click. I'm going to scroll down here to group tracks. And once they're all grouped, it's good. See, they're not grouped yet. So see that? I only had one group. So I go back here. Oh, I'm going to do that. I got to select them all. So I'm going to go to here. And now they're all selected. See? Next, we'll click here, right click. And now we'll group tracks. And now they're all grouped. You can tell by that little yellow line on top of the ones that are grouped. You click here, they're all grouped. You press the button. They're all running. And if you want to go back and edit it, you can do that. This is a really simple way to run Machine or any other plugin in live. The MIDI editor is where we can actually edit MIDI data. And you'll see it right here in the details section here. On the lower right hand side, you'll see it right now, right here where my cursor's at. Now I have several MIDI tracks here. So I click on them, you'll notice that the MIDI editor fills up with the notes where they are, including the velocities for these particular MIDI tracks. As you can see right there. So what I want to do is I'm going to go back here and explain the MIDI editor. So for example here, if this button is not checked and you click on something in here, you're not going to hear what it is, right? So I'll turn this on. This is our preview button. It allows us to preview sounds. For example, what is that? That's a snare drum. That's a little rim shot. Now if I can't see the bounce, I'll move my cursor here. Now I have that up and down cursor so I can pull down. Now right here, these are velocity settings. So you can see as I look at it, I move my cursor there. I have two different velocity settings here. There's one below it, one above it. That means there's two instruments hitting the same point in the timeline of this particular beat. Now you can see here also, not only can I actually click on a note within this editor, but on the right-hand side of the left-hand side of the editor here, I can click right here. You notice I can click right down, and I can, every note I can actually hit here on the piano. This is the piano roll right here. Here's our fold button. I can fold or unfold. By folding, you don't get to see exactly here. You won't see the names of all the sounds that are in this particular module here, which this instrument is called the Akai 808 set. So I can unfold it or fold it up. and preview at the same time. Since I pull it back out, we can see it totally here now. Now below here, so you know, is the velocity. I can change the velocity. Say this drum sound. That's kind of low. Let's turn it up a little bit more. As I turn it up, you notice it's actually playing it. So it's letting me know how loud that particular sound is. As I drag the velocity setting up higher, we hear a little click. And that's okay. You may want it there. That's where it's going to be at. So you'll hear that every time you do that. Let's hear it again here. So it's a great way for you to audition how loud you want that particular sound to be at that point in the timeline. Now here in the timeline also, you'll notice that we can zoom in and out. We have it. See, the cursor turns to this left and right. And so I can go left or right. So I can go to here. Press stop. And I can play it. Now watch this now. I can also go to here, right down here, and I can drag up or down, and I can zoom in or out. I can do the same also in the timeline. So I move my cursor in the timeline. It's a little circle there. I can just zoom in and out. A little magnifying glass is there, right here. A little magnifying glass. We can zoom in and out again. So it's a great way to zoom in and out the settings. We can also go over here and we can get rid of the velocity view. Okay? And I can pull it back up here, and it's back in the window. This makes a great way for you to actually see stuff too as well. I can also say move my cursor here anywhere within the track. I can also change the idea of, let's say, this is just a 2-bar loop. Maybe I just want 1 bar. So I can go and say to here at this other end and grab this and bring this in here, let's say to 2. And I got a 1-bar loop. It's just a 1-bar loop. I can drag this back out to here. Or I can go to the other end and I can drag it out from here. Go to 2 here and I can get this loop. See? So we can change the loop setting easily. Just get that little bracket there, grab it and move it. And it highlights the entire region also. Everything within there, which is very cool. Now also there's a grid you can have. You have a grid right here and I can change the grid. To show you this, I'm going to sort of like shrink down the overall window right now a little bit, just to show you how this grid looks so we can see the bottom of it. I'll click here, I'm right there, and I'm going to right click this, and now we get to see the view. We have quantize settings, we have exact grooves, we can also crop clips, but here we are adapted for the grid. So here, for example, we have narrow, we have widest, wide, narrowest, medium, we have fixed grid. There's 8 bars, 4 bars, 2 bars, 1 bar, half, 4, 8/4. So I can change the grid, see? So I can change the grid to be, let's say, quarter notes. And it changes, so you can see the change in the grid happen. I move my cursor back there, I right click, and I can go to the 16th notes. Where was that before? I can right click again, one more time. And sometimes it'll happen, there you go. That'll happen once in a while. I'll do 32nd notes. See that right there? So this is a great way for us to view anything in the MIDI editor. We've got our MIDI editor up. Well, we need to quantize data once in a while. Sometimes you're putting this beat, you're slamming it in there, boom, bap, bap, boom, and hey, you need to quantize it. Here's how we quantize right here in live. So, for example, I got this beat right here. I'll play it back. Let's get in the window. Okay, so we need to select some notes and quantize it for one, and make sure it's actually going to, sound good. So here, for example, I got some notes off. You can see a little bit off the line here. And I've got no grid value. So first of all, I want to get a grid value in here. Because I know a lot of guys sometimes, I don't need quantize, I can do it by hand. I agree with that. Do it by hand first to get the feel right, and then quantize most of it. I'll show you how we do that. Here, for example, first I'm going to do is going to grab this grid. And I'm going to change the grid around first of all, and get the grid I like. So this happens once in a while. You'll click on something here, and I'll click it again, bring this window up and put right here. There we go. And now I can change my grid. I'm going to change it here to 16th notes. I know you can't see it's a little below the line, but you can see 16 notes appear here in the lower right-hand corner. There's 16 notes right there. Now, I would like to fix this grid. Now, I have to select notes. So I can select this note here, let's say, and let's say this note, but that's not going to work. So I can hold Shift down and select a couple of notes. I can select notes that's non-contiguous, not together. I can select them in any order I want randomly by holding the shift down. That's pretty good. I can also go in here and I can drag enclose. So I'm dragging them and they're enclosed in this little square box. Now they're enclosed in this one area, and these guys will be quantized. Okay? I can do it that way also as well. So there are a couple ways we can actually quantize stuff. We can also sit up here. I can say, let me go here and click right here. Button's there. How about clicking right here? Something's there. I can tell because now all the notes in this note that I clicked on the piano roll, every note behind it here in that piano roll is now selected. I can quantize all those notes. I can go here or quantize these notes right here. So we have several ways we can select notes to get them in a bunch or just several notes so we can have them ready to be quantized. Now as well, I can also click here in the grid and press the Command A, and I select all of them. And we can see that here. Once I can drag here, you'll see me drag it up. There we go. They're all selected. Every note is selected right there. Now to quantize them, I will need to I just want to check out a few things just to make sure they're all going to be correct and find out what the problem's going to be. So I may look at a session here and say, well, from this point on, I'll stop it. That first part I can say is quantized. But from this point on, I want to check out. Now, if I want to play it back again from there, I can just press Shift and click my space bar, and it plays from wherever the cursor left off last. Got that? Okay. Now I can also do this from here and press play. And see, it's a little ahead of it there. That's because we're set to the bar value. If I change this bar value, then it'll happen from close to it. Let's say we're setting up to play after one bar after it. That's a global value. So be aware of that as well too. So if I'm set to play, I'm going to play from where it's at, I may want to change the global value so that way it'll play exactly from where it's at rather than playing to the nearest bar. Because the global parameter here will lock you in. Now, in order to do this, I'm going to need to do some sort of quantizing. Now this can be done two ways. I can go back up here again, shrink it down a little bit, go here into the grid, right click, let's do it again. Sometimes it'll happen too. Happens to me several times. There we go. I can right click here and I can get quantize. See? I can go to quantize and quantize settings. So I can get it to come up here like that. Let's cancel that right there. Let's switch ourselves back out so you can see the way I've been seeing it. I can also go up here to the edit menu and go here to quantize settings and click there. And I have it right now. So I can view it. And I can click on OK and quantize everything I selected. See? I can select my quantized value, quarter notes, eighth note triplets, eighth notes plus eighth note triplets, which I really like that. That's pretty cool. That way you won't have this weird thing going on where triplets won't fit to an eighth note. And you have the 16 note triplets and the 16th and a 16th note triplet and 32nd notes. Quantize are really good. I can start and end. So here are the amounts. So this is cool. The amount thing is real cool to me because this means I can keep some of that human feel going on. I can say, well, do it 96% of the time. Sometimes don't leave it so stiff, but I want to have that feel like it's human, It's only human. So anyway, I'm going to cancel this out. And now I need to select the notes that I want to quantize. So I'm going to do the usual thing I like to do is to press Command A. I got all the notes here. I'll play it back. So a little bit funky there, playing by hand sometimes. And now I'll go back to edit. I'll get quantize settings. They'll come up right here. I want to quantize 16 notes. I want to be just about right like that. Now I'll press OK. And now I'll play it back. So it sounds pretty good. Almost a little stiff for me. So I may want to do that. Let's say undo the quantize editing. Okay, back where we were at. And I may say, I want to keep some of that stuff that I did in there or I set up here, and I may want to do it a little less of this. So we can bring this back down. Say, well, we want to bring a little less of that. We may want to go to 91% and press OK. And now play it back. And it sounds pretty cool to me. So this is a great way that you can quantize with Live. I want to do some advanced MIDI editing. I want to edit some of these notes here. I have these notes here for this little flute line. I'll play it from the top. Let's get right here in the window. A couple of wrong notes there. Okay, so it sounds a little funny there. We're going to fix that up. But first I want to talk about note duration. So here I have some notes. You can see some are shorter than others. And you may want to change them. So if I move the cursor, you see a little bracket gets there. I can actually increase the note. See, but go, it snaps to grid. See that? And so matter of fact, let's shrink in a little bit here. Let's shrink it a little bit in here. Let's go like this. And then, let's go back over to here. I'll move it this way to the first part. There we go. I'm right here. Now what I can also do, if I want to play it back and scroll, I can hit this follow through button right here in the control bar. And that is our follow button. I can press play. And we're scrolling right along with the whole piano roll. Back to the top. Stop. So now I can see the view I want to see. Another way to get there. So to keep it from actually snapping to the grid like it just did, I can go back in and, click inside the window and let's say right click, and then I'll get that menu. I can say no quantize value, set off to this 1/16. Then I could probably move it within the grid. But if I can't do that, sometimes I don't want to keep doing that, going back and forth and setting the grid to be quantized or 0 off or to 16 notes or 8th notes. A better way to do this is to get to the notes you want to get to. Just a note here. And I can command drag. And this way, it won't snap to the grid. I can do what I want to do, drag like this. If I do without holding that down a little bit, it'll just snap to the grid. We don't want that. So I want to press the command button down and then drag it to the size I want to have it at. And that's good. I can also select multiple notes like this, and I can drag them. I'll pull down command, and I'll all drag at the same time, and drag them back again to the length that they were at before. I may want to just drag a few or one. That's a great way to drag across the notes and to get the right duration of those notes. Now, sometimes you also may have like some really bad notes. Like here, for example, I've got a couple of bad notes. I'll play it from the top again. We'll listen back to this. So if I want to fix it, I know this note here is bad, so this note should be up or down. So I grab that note, I can move my up arrow, I can move it there. And then it's good. I'll play it back from the top. A little too jazzy for me, so now I'm going to move this note here. We're going to move this here from F, and we're going to move it up. So I can also drag it by hand. You saw that right there. But I prefer to use the up arrow. Now to play it from the top again. Now I can also move them together at the same time if I want to hit this one. And they got them. I could go. But I don't want that, so I move back up. Play it again. Okay, that sounds cool. Now, sometimes say, I want to move it a whole octave down. Why just go for that? I'll just say, well, I want to move it down a whole octave. Well, you just press Shift, and you move it down a whole octave. 1 octave down. 1 octave up. Play it back. I can move it back down. I got to undo to get reality here going on. And I can play it again. So this is a great way for us to fix notes, move them around, get the octaves going, and I can also do it with velocity. So let's pull the velocity back up. Hit the little button right there, and we got our velocity changes right here again, as you can see. Now I can take a velocity, just grab one here, as you know, and we can move it up and down, and we will like this and out of that. And I can move this one here. I want to have a little more of a human feel like that or like this. And I can move them, individually. So I can click there and play from where I want to go. Where I want to say, go right here, play from here. Won't do that. See that? Because I have that one bar set up here at the top. for the global. I keep telling you that so you remember. And so here we go down to here. I'll grab this one, bring it down. See, always additions to 2, as you can see. Good. And then here, I can grab, let's say, several of these here. Sometimes I just want to just do my own editing for all of them. So I'll grab all these. Let's get these 3 here. And if I grab one, they all move together. Now, to cut the noise out, I want to click here, the preview button. Don't need to hear that. I just want to get here and get them together. Now, if they're different lengths, I can go to the bottom, and now they'll be the same length. See? And if I do it here, and I drag over these notes here like this, I get these 2 notes. I can click on one of them, and they both go to the top. When they come down, they're together again at the same level. That's a great way to get your notes just to be perfect, you know. Rather than just going one by one, I can just grab them all and move them in the same direction. And it really works out really good. Now, to do it even better job sometimes, I may need to have to, let's say, I may have to do a velocity edit. Where I may have to, let me see here, do it like this. So this is like a crescendo. See, I'm going way up like that, see? And we're going up like this here. That's pretty good. And I want to grab those like that. And I want to get them to be that way. So how we do this is called a crescendo select draw up. You got that? And so you can crescendo draw them up. So I'm just going to do this. It's going to be like this, but no. I got to hold the shift key. Hold down the option key. See that? And that's how you draw. See that? Hold the option key down, and they draw it up. Let's try this now, and we'll get a little crescendo going on in a sense. So a little softness in the front. I can do it again. I hold down the command key again. I'll do it like this and let go. See that? But they weren't selected, so I got to go undo. I got to select all these notes here. So I need to go here and select all the notes. These ones get selected. I don't know why these aren't getting selected. So look at these 2 right here. And then we can say, I want to take the crescendo from here, press down that command key, and go up to here. And here we go. I can play from the top. See? And we get this feeling like we're going to go up in volume, you know? So, one cool trick to work when you're using velocity settings. So, that's how we can edit some of our MIDI data. You can actually apply grooves to either MIDI files or audio files. Now, these grooves allow you to offset some of the mechanical sound that you get normally. Just put 16 notes in generally. It gives you almost that human feel where it's this almost semi-inconsistency, but that consistency at the same time where you feel like it's almost that human feel going on. And we'll explain how that works and show you what groove file does. Now, here we go. It's called Groove Pool, rather, right here. And right here, I've already got some grooves already in. I'll show how this works, actually. I'll go back in here, and we can delete this groove, and delete this one also as well. That's deleted out. Now, I'm going to go over here, and here we have grooves. Let me show some of these grooves here. You'll see this is a folder full of grooves I have in the library. Now, they normally have grooves for almost everything. In this case, I have grooves for hip-hop, MPC type grooves. You hear most one of the most popular machines out there. We have notator. We have percussion grooves, quantization grooves, rock grooves, SP1200 grooves, one of my favorite machines, and swing grooves. Now here I'm going to go to the Logic grooves, for example, right here. And these are Logic grooves. So let's play something and see how it sounds, and see how it'll sound with a groove applied to it. I'm going to press play on a space bar. You can see I've got here the hi-hat ready to go. So let's fire that one off. So you've heard before, that's a pretty typical 16th note hi-hat going right through the changes there. Next, what we want to do, since we got that happening with the 16 notes and the changes, I want to do a new thing here where I'm going to apply a groove to it. So let's go here. I'm going to look for a groove here in the list. Go back here to the grooves, and we'll scroll down now. These are Logic grooves we're scrolling through here. So I want to get into some Logic grooves here. These are some swing grooves. See, these are swings right here. So I'm going to get to this swing thing here. And I want to go to probably like 68 is good. Matter of fact, let's try 60. So I grabbed it and I put it here into my groove pool, okay? And I may get one more groove here. We'll try 63. We'll take another groove out. Well, might be not too close to it. Let's get one that's like about 68. There you go. And this groove's in. So we got 68 and 65. I'm going to drag this out a little bit. You can see this. And they're right there. 68 and 60 right there are the grooves I have. And we're going to apply them. So this is 60. And you'll notice here, within this detailed view, right here it says clip, we can pull down here and we can look at different grooves. So it says groove right on top of that, and I'm going to click this one here right there, and that's the groove. So now I'll play the 16 note back now. So see the difference? Now let's go back to no groove. So it's adding some sort of swing to it. Now, what it's doing, we'll look at it carefully. Let's go back here again. We're going to reapply the groove. Let's get it back. Here we go. We're going to reapply the groove to it. And now I'm going to zoom in somewhat here and see what's going on. And you'll notice here that some of the grooves here are a little different. Some are a little off-center a little bit. So with the groove into it, I'm actually going to commit it first. Commit. And now you see here. See, once you commit it, you can see it right here. Some are going to be off a little bit from where they should be, from where you think it really ought to be. And this is when it's committed to it. And once we're committed to it, we're on. So I can go back here. I want to probably undo that. And now you see it's locking right back to the grid again, see? So we're right back to the grid, and we're locked to the grid one more time here, as you can see. And I'll play it again. That's because it's right there. I'll go right back here. We'll go to none. So, now here's how this works. Right here you can see the bass is going to be eighth notes. See that? It's the bass eighth note. And this can be changed. So the bass chooser determines the time resolution against which the notes in the groove and the notes in any clip, so that means any audio as well, will be measured. So here it's doing by eighth notes. So it's changing them up by eighth notes right there. Here's the quantize. Now the quantize is just the amount of straight quantize that is applied to the groove as compared to unstraight quantize, all right? So at 100%, the notes in the clips, or anywhere the clips or the groove, will be snapped to the nearest note values as selected by the bass chooser. So the bass chooser in this sense is the 16th note we see here in the corner. So that's that. So let's try this. Let's try that 16. Let's try the 16. Let's do this here like this. And we changed it. We'll go back to here. Let's pull it up. There we go. And we'll apply it now. And now we'll play it again. So it's a different feel again. See that? Up to 16 notes. And if I go here to triplets, and let's go back to none. So we can make a good comparison between the two. So you feel that 1 to 3, 1 to 3, 1 to 3. So it's giving you a slight subtle triplet sound here. And on 16ths, it's even more. And as I said before, once we commit and we look at it, we can see how it's changing, moving away from certain notes within the groove. Now let's look at 68 now. We're going to 68, and we'll check out 68. So I'm going to go back here. We're going to do 68, and we'll hear this. That's a little bit more of a little bit harder groove going on here. So what happens is you can apply this to your drum set or to, let's say, whatever feel you want to apply it to. Now, for example here, let's look at something we can apply it to here. We're going to turn that one off. I'm going to look at this one right here. And I've got this little set going on here. Let's play this. So this is not too bad. I'm going to do him and drag this in a little bit and maybe just get one bar. So I'm going to get a different groove set. Well, matter of fact, we'll use this one here, the 60. And I'm going to go back to the 8th note. And now we'll take this and apply this to the groove. We got the choices here. Let's go with choice. There we go. Here's our choices, and we'll collect this to the groove. And now we'll play it back. So you see how that works there? So it's a little bit funkier, but you can actually sort of change it as you move along and sort of edit your groove right here. Now, as far as the quantize, adjust the amount of straight quantize that we apply before the groove is applied, right? And here we have timing. Now, timing adjusts how much the groove pattern will affect any clip. So let's maybe bring this pattern. Let's maybe try to bring this down a little bit. Let's see how this works. Try to get a little lower. And turn this up some. So you can see how it works now. We can sort of adjust this groove, get the feel we want, and it won't have such a human feel, and we can get more of this exaggerated swing or less exaggerated swing. And it's a great way to apply the groove to a simple beat to give it more of that feel, particularly with reggae and some rock songs. You can get a real nice feel with even hip-hop as well. You can have hip-hop grooves also. Let's talk about the random. Now what the random does, the random adjusts how much random timing fluctuation will be applied to the clips. So how much randomness will there be? Here we have 0 randomness. Let's add a lot more randomness now. So you can hear that. Oh, that's really whoa, that's really random. Then we have velocity. Now the velocity adjusts how much the velocity of the notes in the clips will be affected by the velocity information stored in the groove. So in the groove, there's velocity information stored. Now, we can also adjust the grooves to make our own grooves. Now, let's grab a groove right here. Let's grab a groove, and we'll find an empty track, and we'll put a groove right here. And we'll put this groove right here on 6. There's a groove right there. And here's a groove right here. We'll bring this groove up, and it's right here. And here is some velocity information from that groove. See, it's the clip right here. It's the Logic 8 clip right there. It's a clip. And you can scroll through it here. And you'll see what these things are. There it is right there. This shows you how the quantize is being done. It's like, wow, look at this. So it's here. It's moving this. Every other note is being moved away from the snapping grid, from right here from the grid. So if I want to, I can probably take it and move it over some. Let's see here. Oh, we can move this over. What's right? Here we go. We can grab this groove. There we go. And move it right over to the groove like that if we want to. And then I could say I could save this. So I want to save this entire groove, so I just moved it over. So I want to save it and then make it a brand new groove, my own groove. As you can see, that was a groove. So these are just provided as markers for you to see how far each little piece will be away from it. So it's every other 8th note you saw. And I can undo this again. And that's what it's just right there. We can do the same thing also with the velocities. The velocities can be changed as well. I may say, well, in this groove, I want that accent to be here. So we can change our accents and make them a little bit more or a little bit less. So see, the main accent happens on here's the 1, the 3, and the 4. See that? But here on the very first one, it's off. But here on the 2, it's a little off. And see here, the 3. So it's every other one of these velocities is a little bit lower. And if you want to, you can say, okay, I want to save this groove. You take it back over here and then save the groove and rename it and save it. So this is how groove velocities work. Now you can also do this with a audio file. So let's find an audio file. I got an audio file right here somewhere. Let's turn this off. Stop that. And we're going to go right here. And there's an audio file. And so let's say, for example, we want to apply this to an audio file. And let's see here. There we go. And I say, okay, I want to apply this to an audio file. And here it goes. Let's go to here. See, so sort of what makes it really weird, right? Now go back to how it should normally sound. So you see what happens. It can apply to audio files as well. But you have to be specific about the groove you want to apply and adjust your groove to fit what you want to do. But you can make a pretty good groove here. So I can also take this one. Let's try it again. Let's do it with the 68 here. And we got the 68 going on. And let's bring this down a lot more. This up a little bit. And we got a round of this as well as enough there. Velocity could be a little bit better. So we can bring this down a little bit more. So you adjust it. And you adjust as you hear it back, kind of getting your groove where you want it at. So what you can do also, if you don't think that's good, you can go back and find other grooves and bring them into your groove pool. And then you got another groove here. And you say, okay, I want to apply this groove. You go down to here and you apply that groove. So experiment, see what you like, come with a great groove, but that's how grooves work in live. Time to start recording some audio. That's right, time to record audio. And what we need to do is prepare and set up. Now on your system, make sure that you turn on your interface first, get that plugged in. Once the interface is plugged in, then make sure the cables are plugged in properly, but never turn your speakers on until the last thing you do, okay? Once your computer's up, everything's up, then turn your speakers on. So, the rule is this. The speakers come on last and they go off first. Okay, so make sure you're doing pretty much that order when you're actually loading and getting prepared to record. Now here we are, we're here in live, and we got some tracks, and it automatically comes up. We've got the audio track, and then we've got a MIDI track, which you can see right there. And so I need to prep before I record. So I normally go to here, and you're gonna go to configuration. Now this all depends on what we're recording, okay? And of course here we have our buffer size. See, it's down to 10 now. And our buffer size will have to deal with latency. But first I'm talking about sample rate. Now sample rate is 44.1. I haven't burnt a CD in so long that I really don't use 44.1 too often. I do tend to use 48. As you can see right there. I put 48 in. And 96 I don't use too much unless I really have a lot of hard drive space, which I'll do with my new Mac when I get that. But for right now, I could do 48 rather, and 44.1 when you want to have this consumer, thing you want to put out to everybody else, which is pretty cool too as well. As you can see here, I'm just currently using my MBox 2 Pro as the input, and my outputs for this built-in Mac speakers I have here. That means it's going right to this video. It makes it easier for me to edit the video this way, but normally it would go directly out to my DigiDesign MBox 2, and that would connect to my speakers. And my speakers will go on last, because anytime you change something like here or there, you hear this pop. So I'm setting the preferences up, I won't turn my speakers on. I won't turn them on until I'm through doing everything. And then when I'm ready to record, I'll turn it down, then I'll turn them on, then I'll adjust my level. It's so important. We don't want to blow any speakers. So we got that. So we got our buffer size. And we talked about buffer size before. If you're going to be using your vocals or recording guitar or whatever you record, you need to make sure the buffer size is low, so you get a small amount of buffering. So here I went to 48, the buffer size changed. See that? And if I go here to 96, buffer size got even smaller. And I go to 44.1, buffer size now back up to 10. Be aware of that, okay? Now, here's my sample rate. My buffer size rather. It's my sample rate 48. 48 right there. Now, right here, I can increase, I'll keep it low though, but keep it here about 128 and test and see how it works out. So this is good. Let's close it out right like that. And if I'm ready to start recording, I got a microphone plugged into the back of my interface. Get your interface ready. I don't know if I'm using an MBox 2. Obviously, you saw it already on the right there on the preferences window. But make sure you read the directions, plug your mic in, keep it cut off, keep everything low. Don't turn the speakers on yet. Make sure you get a good signal through. Once you do, you're ready to go. But if you got the speakers on, keep them very low. Now, in this case here, I'm going to try and set this up here, turn the mic on, and see what happens here. Let's see what we got going on here. I'm not too sure if my mic is on or not. And what I want to do now, once you get your stuff going on, keep your mic low. Turn the volume, the gain on the interface down. And I turn this on here. And I can see right now there's some sort of level. See that little green thing coming up there? That's a level coming up right now. a level coming up. Uh-oh, I can hear it. But wait a minute, it's only on one side. Okay. Now it's time to realize this is a stereo input. So we go here, we want to go where the mic is at, which is, there it is, that is it. And so I can hear it. I can hear it on this side, I can hear it on that side, yep. And this is in the middle, and we definitely have ourselves a mono signal coming in. Now, if you notice that, this is just a playback. This fader level indicator right here only indicates the playback. It doesn't help the gain. My gain is on my interface. So I turn my interface up louder and louder,
and now I hear it more and more.
Now you can really
hear me a lot clearer than before
because
I'm talking to a microphone.
Okay. And I turn the mic up too much here.
And you may have this thing on, it's really far away from me, and sometimes I might hit the pad, and you put a pad on it that sort of cuts it back by several dB, and it's back open again. So it is a pad that you can have on your mic input. And some mics require phantom powering.
And you gotta check out which mics do. This mic doesn't.
Well, I'm pressing it in right now.
And you hear a lot of noise. And you hear a lot of noise right there?
Noise right there? Now, that's the problem.
If you push
phantom powering in, and you got your amp set up that way,
you could have a real problem.
So be careful about setting up any kind of phantom powering. Make sure that you keep that speaker down. I don't want you to blow any speakers. And this is how it would sound. Now, I want to show you something here too as well. I'm going to go back to configuration, and where are we here? Oh, here we go, configure. And if I do something like, let's see, testing 1, 2, 3, 4, I may go to like 5, 12, or up to here. Hello. Now it's sort of delaying. You can hear the delay because you can probably hear me delaying. And that's the problem. The higher the buffer size, the more the delay. That sounded weird. Okay. We're going to go back here to...
Okay,
that's much better, much closer than what it was before. And that's the problem we have to defeat.
Once that's good
enough, and your singer likes it, and so that's not too bad. You're good to go. Now I tend to adjust it sometimes, particularly right now. I think it's a little bit, for me, I guess because I'm so close to the microphone, so I may say, well, you know, I'm just going to come down a little bit more, maybe around here, and it's closer, and that sounds pretty good right there. I like that. That's pretty good.
And once you get the right
adjustment, you're ready to record.
That was great. You recorded with the vocals, or just set it up actually, to prepare for recording. It's important to know what kind of instrument you're using, or even a mic you're using. So now I'm going to do something with a bass guitar. So we're going to set ourselves up here and make sure this thing is playing actually. And on. So I've got an input here, of course. Now at the same time, I'll go back to configure again. So for microphones, I do have to keep my delay, overall delay, down at least below 10. Here it was at 7.73. So for guitars and stuff, the same thing too applies. You know, I'm not going to even sweat that. I have to keep it the same way. That way, whenever you strike the guitar chord or the bass or whatever, it'll come out perfect. And you'll feel that way when you're playing it. So, for those guys that actually do play. So I'm here trying to get my guitar going. You might hear it already. That's an unplugged into the system. Now I'm trying to get up in the system here. There we go, we're in. So remember, if I go back here to 1 and 2, that's stereo, of course, and I'm only going to appear, as you can see right there, on the left-hand side. And we're going to go back here to 1. And we hear me totally. That's pretty good right there. You can hear me totally right there inside 1, so that's good. So that's the bass right there. And the problem, of course, recording bass is that you're recording, you know, an analog sound into the digital world. Again, I talk again about these converters, converting analog to digital. It's called analog digital conversion. So it's going to convert what I put in this M box to and make this signal sound almost as good as it does live. And the better the converters, the better the sound quality. And I also have to keep that level up again. So I'll go back here again. for me, this is the reason why I do like to go to 48, because I will get more of that appeal I want to get. Where the difference between these is pretty drastic to me. Not drastic, but it's pretty accurate, and you can hear it. It's pretty right in front of your face. You can't deny it. So the higher the sample rate, the better it is. The reason why is at 44.1, it's sampling every frequency from the bottom to the top. And at 48, it's sampling even more frequencies. In the 96, it's double what 48 was. So, wow, a very clean sound, but bigger, huger files. So be aware of that too as well. So here, I got a bass going on. And I got my level set up here. I'm not trying to add any effects to this bass at all, but if I wanted to, I could actually. So I may want to add a compressor. So if you're going to do something, you want someone to hear it properly, say, well, I'm going to add maybe a compressor to this. Let's go back here. You may go into some audio effects, and you want to pull up a compressor. Now here's the compressor here. I can double click on that, and maybe open up. Oh, here's the compressor right there. But maybe I don't want that compressor. You don't know. You say, I don't know if I want that compressor or not. So I'm playing there with it. And if you got some presets saved, you can probably go to a file and load them up. I'm looking for some compressors here. So here I got some compressors here. And there are some presets in here you can look through. And I don't see anything here I really think that's going to work for me. So in my case, I'm going to leave it the way it is right here. Or I can go to here. And so a compressor can pull. So I can pull a different one up. See, it's a different compressor. It's two now I have here in the system, which I don't really need. So I don't really need two of them at all. So what I'll do is I'll do this. I'll do that. And I'll do it. And I'll drag it back in here. I'll find one here. I can drag it right there. And that compresses in. And I play. And this is my compressor. So sometimes I have to record, and you may need to record your instrumentalist or someone with some sort of compression over it at the same time to get that feeling. And if not that, then provide some EQ. So you can always go look for an EQ and say, look, that is not too bad, but I made an 8-band or 3-band. So here, I'll turn this to like this, and I may want to get an EQ. So what I'll do is I'll go back up here. I'll undo, do device insert. I'll look for something here that boosts a little bottom maybe for me. There's less mids. So I may try this right here. Pop it right in there. There's my little EQ. We got my low, my mids, my high, so I may want to go up here a little more, this bottom end here. And pull back on this top end a lot more. There's my mids here, as you can see right there. And there's our frequency, the low frequency, so I can boost this up here. Here's the high frequency, bring this down some more. So we can adjust our frequency as we go. So this gain here, minus dB. Here's the minus, there's a plus there. So, and after that, I can say, well, I want to get a compressor now. Now I want to get a compressor. And so I might look for a compressor. Okay, pull the compressor in and put that right there. And that's normally how I would have a track go. And have it set up like this, and I'll be ready to record, And before I record, I'll go to here. This is where the clip will appear anyway. So I want to see the clip. I don't need to see the effects. And then when I'm ready, I just say, well, look, I'm ready to record. And the groove's going on here too as well. Okay, it sounds good. So let's stop this a second here. I just want to make sure I'm going with some ideas here that are going to fit in here. I say, good. So I see this happening here. So now I want to make sure there's a little distortion here. See, don't keep the distortion down. So we adjust as we go along too as well. So recording your string instruments or any instrument, be prepared to adjust. So I can go back here to audio again, and I may want to adjust the output and play it again. And you can see what's happening. It's too much output. Turn it down. Adjust it. And learn more how to use an EQ and a compressor. That's going to help you when recording live into live. So let's get up here. I'm going to go back to here now. I think I'm going to try to record something here. And I'm recording. And I got something going on there. So, as you can see, we recorded directly on the line. It's pretty cool there. So now we see the waveform. I can just move the mouse there and hear something, and you want to adjust it. Say, how's this sound? Oh, that's pretty heavy right there. So let me bring this down a little bit. It's like that's pretty heavy. But you got the point. Here's the waveform. You see the file right here. I can click anywhere in the waveform. I myself like, let's turn this off now. I'm not recording. I will also say, let's see. Go right here and move my cursor there and see what's going on. Look at these levels. I'll see if I may play back from there. So you always check out what's going on in the recording. See how it sounds. If it's peaking too much peak, you get a little clip there, a little noise. Listen for that too as well. You want to make sure that you are recording the way you want it to be recorded. I may put the cursor here. So, listen back, adjust, and try to get a feel for what works best from recording in live. Once you've recorded something inside of live, or you brought a sample in, it's an audio file. And as you can see, I have an audio file right here to my immediate right, and this is the sample. Now, normally when you see something and say you're going to see a MIDI file, you'll see it, and it won't be sampled. It'll be launched and see notes. Plus we're editing MIDI data. So in this case, in the clip view, we'll see sample when we see an audio file. Now here in sample, you're going to see here the file itself. And then here, we're also going to see the file hertz for the sample rate, kilohertz, and the bits, which is 24 bits. And it's 2 channels, so it's left and right stereo. Now, below here, we have some other buttons here. For example, right here, I can reverse. I'll click here. Let me play the sample first. Let me just play this thing. Now I'll play it and press this button here. This will reverse the sample. So this function will create a new sample by reversing the sample that's currently referenced to the sample clip. All right, so click here. See, I made a new sample. So we reverse the sample. And we can reverse it back. We can also, here, we can edit the sample. Now, back when we were working with preferences, and we pull the preferences up, we're looking for a way to look at the sample and say if you wanted to like fix the sample, or say take a look at the audio file and say maybe you want to do something else with the file later on. Well, what we decided to do, of course, was to set it up to be edited. And so I have a special edit button here where I can edit the sample outside of live. So I use this button to open the sample editor. So I'm going to do it right now. I'll click on here. And my sample editor I picked was recycle. Let's go back to here, me say yes, and move this over. And here's the same sample in recycle. It's the sample number, the name there, and you can see it. It's a WAV file. And here in recycle, I can sit down and edit. I'd say I want to edit. Well, loop length, okay, cancel. I'll make the loop length should be exactly what it's going to be, 1 bar. And then I'll go to here and I'll say we'll do this, and we'll edit some parameters within this with this whole thing, like attack, decay, threshold. I can edit the low cut, high cut, pass filter. Then I would just save it and send it right back to the same location. So, well, don't save. Now we get rid of that. So we can actually edit outside of live, then bring it back in. And outside that, I can also save it. I can save the file and all its parameters. Let's say you recorded something, you want to save it, you can save it real fast from right here. Now, so right here we have our high Q mode, high quality mode here. It's high Q. And live will use a more sophisticated interpolation with a logarithm. So it's complicated. It sounds more complicated. It just makes it so that it can use it and read it from where it's at. So I do create these pitch shifts. If I do, it'll sound better. It won't sound so distorted. Okay. So in case it starts to sound distorted, I'll go here. I'll say, let me try and do this something different. And the reason why, because I may start using some transition here, fading or tuning. And so I want to make sure I may use high Q to do that, to help me do that. So I get a better read, a better playback of the file. Now fade, this will apply approximately 0.4 milliseconds to your sample when it actually loops. That way there's no pops and clicks between loops. If you hear a pop and click at the very end of it, you can turn this on. In this case, I don't need that right now, but I'll play it back to see if it does. Don't hear it, don't need it. Now here is the RAM. Now sometimes your computer may be running slow. I don't know. Mine's pretty powerful. I keep it really running consistently at the same level. I keep a lot of RAM. So I make sure that I can actually use a lot of files, huge hard drive, all the great stuff I need to have in here. And so sometimes you have a slow, maybe a laptop or something, and it might be running kind of slow. So what I'll do, when I switch this on, Live loads the audio file into the memory. Because normally it just reads it from the disk. So this means reads from the hard drive. But if it's sort of like too slow, you want Live to grab it, put it in the memory so it's closer to look at and play back. Best way. Particularly when you're running slow. Now here I can transpose. So let me turn this on. That's just kind of fun too. I like the way it sounds when it transposes in Live. If you get out here, you want to come back, just click on that little triangle, and you're back where you were at before. That's really good. Now also, sometimes you want to raise a level of a sample or of your audio file, and you can do that right here. I can lower it, see that? And you see the waveform right here just really creep down. I'm gonna raise it up here, bigger, 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 almost like normalizing it, right? So you get to a maximum level here, and I play it back. So it's always good to sort of like get the proper level. I like maxed out for me. That way I know I've got a good sample. I can hear any noise in the background if I do. And if I don't, the quality's there. So here we can detune. This is transposing. This is just tuning. Slight bit of tuning up and down that you can barely hear, but just tune the sample. Now this is warp. And what this does, this allows us to let Live take this sample and stretch it out. We may want to go at a faster speed or a slower speed. So you can do that right here in Live by making sure warp is activated. As warp is activated, then Live has the ability to stretch your sample out, and you can pick a different tempo, right here in this tempo field. See? This is our segment BPM. This shows Live guesses at the tempo of the original file. So what happens is that we got the original file, and then when it says, okay, well, it's about this much. Okay, so now I want to maybe change that. The song may change, and I want to make it 100 BPM. So here, I would just go here and go like that. See, I want to make it 100 BPM now. So you can do that automatically. And the reason why, because warp is on. And if warp wasn't on, we couldn't do that. Now here, these two buttons right here, this will have the original tempo, and this one will double the original tempo. So like what this does, set up and do it on an accurate basis. This will make it 124, this will make it 60 BPM. Here we have beats. Now the beats mode is for rhythmic audio, so it's perfect for us. Tone mode is for sounds. And then texture is for polyphonic and sort of like noisy items, So this gives it a better way for the warp to work. If you tell warp we're doing beats, okay, I understand. These transients you see up and down, those peaks, those are beats. I got it. Okay, I can understand. Now I can take it and warp it for you. See? So you're just telling warp what you got. And it says, okay, I'll do it this way for you. Now here, This is sort of like a chooser. It preserves divisions of the sample as boundaries, so when it warps out. So, for example, the most accurate result that you're going to get is these transients up and down. And if you want to if you want to preserve the specific beat divisions, regardless of the sample's content, you can choose one of the fixed values. See? So, these fixed values here. So I know that's going to be 1 bar. Bam. But I'm just going by transients. If I know it's going to be 1 bar, I can do this, but forget that. I'm going to do the transient thing, I'll stick with transients. Because that way, it'll measure transients and measure where it's at. Okay, got you. It'll preserve that. Now here we also have the start. This is the start of my sample. And the end, which is already set to 2-2, which makes it 1 bar. And we can loop it. If I play it now, just play through once. And it stops. If I loop it, it'll play through over and over again. So next, we have our position where it starts from 001, and the length is 1 bar. And this is our little sample window. Now, sometimes I work with samples. Sometimes I'll do, or what I generally always do all these days is I'll go back in here. I'll look for, say, an EQ. Load that in. I'll find a compressor. Some generic compressor. Here we go. I'll load it over here. Ooh. And there it is. So this way I got something on my track that I like. I say, okay, that's good. I'm going to use that. That's going to work for me. And I've got it right here in the rack, and it works with the sample. So that's how that sample area works in live. I'll talk about the arrangement view, and of course our session view right here. So we want to toggle back and forth. You can press tab, and you can go back and forth between arrangement and the session view. Now here in session view, our song starts from the top down. For example, here, my first set of clips right here is A. My next set of clips is B. So this could be verse, chorus, and we got B2. It could be a bridge. Now I'm going to toggle back to your tab, and here our session goes from left to right. So I start from over here. It starts from on this side, all the way over there. It starts from. It starts on this side of it, from here over there. Now I can also toggle back and forth between the session view and the arrangement view by clicking on these 2 icons right here. One, that's for the arrangement view, the session view. This is for arrangement view. Now here at the top, we've got our clip overview. It's sort of a zooming in and out hotspot. You can just grab this, pull down, and we're going to get really into and zoom right into the track where we want to be at. Or I can pull it back up again, and we get the entire track to view. All the tracks and all the outputs, and inputs and our master. Now this can also be done right here in our timeline. Our timeline has from on the top here, it has 1 to 57. And this in terms of measures. On the bottom here, it's in terms of minutes and seconds. See that? It goes almost 2.5, maybe less, maybe it might be almost 3 minutes right there at the bottom right there. See that? Now here, once I put my cursor in here right here, I can hear stuff. So I put my cursor there, just click, I can hear where I'm at. Now also, we have this right here, and this is our loop start punching point. So I can say, I want to punch in here and end there. Or I want to loop this one section. Say, well, I want to loop just one section. And so you can see when the cursor is in the middle, I have the ability to move this little bracket anywhere I want to move it within the song, or outside the song for that matter, as you can see. I can also change the length of this loop. Make it as small as possible on either side. So move my cursor to the left, it's that way. My cursor to the right, it's that way, either way. And I can also put the cursor right here in the middle, and see up here it's a speaker, but right here in the middle it's not. I can just put the cursor someplace, and it sets up, look at that. There's 2 different positions right there. I can go right here, I'll go right here, and now it becomes just one thing. See this here? It becomes just one little line. Now from that line, I can move my left and right arrows and move anywhere. and locate anywhere within the session. Or what I can do also is press the plus or minus to zoom in. I'm right there, I say, let me zoom in. So I press the plus key, and I'm zooming in on that position. Or I can hold down that minus key and go right back to where I was at before. Now you'll see here also I have like this thing, it's a pan here. This is a track panning, and this is in the drum track. I can open my tracks up. I can see more information about that track, what's going on in there. You also see some of these little like images here. It's like drums. So you can see it's a drum, like the MIDI file for the drums is right there. You can see that stuff right there. Little dots and dashes right there. Well, here is the panning. So if I do panning and automation, I can do that right here in the track and put it together. I can also, with this button here, I can remove my automation lane. Now here I can unfold it too. So unfold it, I fold it back up. And I can say, okay, this is the drums, that's all I want to see. But if I want to see automation, I turn it for automation. If I'm not sure what I have below, I can say, oh, I got automation. I see what I have now. You can see what you've got. So wait a minute, something's missing, you can find it. Close it there also. Now here in the track too, you'll see that we have this lock. And this is locks envelopes. So if locked to the song position, envelopes are unaffected by clip editing. So that means if I lock this in this song position like this right now, then that means I can do my clips, move stuff around, whatever I want to do, but they're unaffected by it. But if unlocked, envelopes follow the clip's movement. So be aware of that. That's important to know also as well. This is our set delete locator. So locations can be set at any point. So I can say, okay, I'm right here. I want to set that. And it's a location. See, look at that. A 1 got there. I'll move this here. I'll move the cursor like right there. And I'll set that one. Oh, that got there. Wow. So you can do that. I can say, well, jump to the next locator. And it does. See it? Jump back. Oh, locator. So this is a locator, jump back and forth. Or I can get to a locator and delete it. I don't want that locator no more. I delete the locator right there. So locator is deleted. Now further down here we have our master track, and here we can hide and show its parameters as well. And here we set the volume. As you can see, there's some little thing going here with the volume right here where it goes up and down. You move your cursor, it'll show you what's happening. Now also here to the right, we can show the I/O if you'd like to. You can see my I/O here, the outputs here. We can reconfigure them. And here, we can show our mixer height. See? So our mixer height. So open back up, open it, close it. I can solo a track if I want. Let me solo this one right here. Or let me solo this. Hear the drums. Solo it, and hear it back. And here, we have our track delays. You can set our track delays there also. So this is just a general overview on how the arrangement window looks and works. Next, we want to talk about and do recording in arrangement view. So here we're in arrangement view right here, and you can see it's pretty obvious here. I've got a little MIDI track there. I'm going to drag this drum set over here from my impulse and drag it right into the MIDI track. As you can see right there, we're in. Now, next thing I'm going to do here is I want to set up to do a little recording in here. So let me see. Let me make sure that this drum track works. Yep, that works right there. So on my keyboard, I'm hitting those drums, make sure they're working good. And what I could do here also is I want to go right over here and click on it right here. And then we got our metronome going by. But I also want to make sure that we have some sort of count off. So here in my count off, I got a 1-bar count off going on. So I'll make sure I have a 1-bar count off to be easier for me, so I know it's going to come with a 1-bar count off. I can start off well. I'm going to go here to tab, click on tab, and next I'm going to lower down. Just want to make sure the master is not too loud. Make sure the master level is just right for me. A little bit lower. And next I go right back here, click tab, and I'm back over to my arrangement view. Now, I want to start from the beginning, of course, and we're going to do that. We're set to go here. Take out that punch thing there. We're good to go. And now, once I press record is here on the track, we have to do record in arrangement view. Now, normally in session view, you don't have to do that. But in order to record in arrangement view, we do. So I'm going to go right here, and that's on. So when I'm ready, I press the space bar, I'll get my count off, and I'll start playing the beat. Okay, see the problem here? I'm not starting from the right point, right there. So let's undo this. And I really want to start from the beginning. So let's move this back to the top. I want to start from right here. Start from right there in the beginning. The very beginning I want to start from. So we're going to make sure we start from the very top. And we are starting from the top now. And there we go at the top. Now, we're going to go right back here. We're going to press the record button here and start again. So, got a little beat going on there. Let me drag out a little bit more and see where we are. There we go. And let's play it back. Got that. So, next thing I want to do is I want to punch in. I want to go on some spot. Let's say I got a spot here. It's bad. I want to redo it. I don't like the way that spot's at. Okay. We're going to go right back in here, and we're going to find a spot to punch in at, and I'm going to go from there. So here's how this works. We're going to go back here, and we're going to cut off this metronome because I can hear the beat now. The beat will be my guide. Next, I'm going to go here to punch in. This is our punch in switch. It's turned on. Next, I want to find a spot to come in at, to listen to before I start punching in. So I think maybe a bar before that. Yep, or come in maybe on bar 4. So what I want to do here is I want to drag this over here to bar 4. See that? That's my little brace right there. So my brace here will set me up. And I'm going to go start from here. And then once I do, it'll punch in from this little line here on the brace. Okay, so now I'm going to also have to push the record here. Remember that? And now I'll press the space bar. So you see, 2 different colors. Here's the first take, which is 3. Here's take 4. See that? So it shows us which takes we're doing. It shows us the takes. Each takes a different color. It's kind of cool. You know where you are, you know where you're not. It helps you out a lot. Now, sometimes you're recording. Could be a vocalist, and she's sitting there and go, oh, it sounds pretty good, but I want to do it over again. The first part's right, that part's right, but just around between 3 and 5, I want to do something over. So we're going to punch in and punch out. So we're going to go now to our punch out switch, and notice on the right-hand side of our brace here, we have a little line now. See? Punch out, punch in. So I can take the brace now and get the size. Go on this side that big. Or go over here and get it this big. And we'll take it and move it that big. This depends on where we're going to go with it. It makes it much easier for us. Now, here's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to go here. I'm going to grab the brace and move it right there. And next thing I'm going to do, I can record on one side and not the other side. Okay? We're going to record just in the middle. Now I want to get a space to come in from, which is right there. I want to go here to says record, make sure that's punched in, and I'm going to punch in right there. Let me push the space bar. I'm ready to go. So look, a different color again. The middle's different color. The beginning's different color, and the end's different color. So that means we punched in here and then punched out. That's how we can punch in, punch out, and record right here in arrangement view. Well, next what I want to do is I want to take the scenes I have here in session view. I want to record them into arrangement view and have a song for them. So let's do that. And first I want to do is I want to clean this whole area up. I want to make sure I got a good view here. So I'm going to go to view, and I'm going to get rid of the in and out. Those are going good. And next I think I'm just going to pretty much either get the mixer first. Go ahead and mixer first, see how it looks. Let's get the mixer next. Good. So as you can see right here, we can change our view any time we want to. We can get rid of the in and out, the sends, the returns, the mixer, the track delay, and the crossfade as well. So I've got that going on. Now I can fire off a scene real quick. Here's a F. Then fire the next one off. Now, that's pretty cool. I can play these scenes back and forth. But to use this little mouse and to click on it and to be in time is hard to do. And the only way it happens by bars. You can see right here, the global command is set to 1 bar. So it can only come in the next following bar. So I do not want to rush and make a mistake and click the wrong spot. So the best thing to do is to have a button or some key numbers or some letters on my keyboard trigger the scenes. Here's how we do that. We'll go to Key, Map, and right here, that key means key mapping. We have our key mapping right here. I can select any one of my scenes, and I'll give it, let's say, a number. This is going to be 1. I'll press the button 1. The number 1's pressed. And see what happens over here on the left-hand side? It says key number 1. The path is master. That's where it's going. And it has the name, scene 1. So 2, B will be 2. B2 will be 3. B3, actually B3 will be 4. C is 5. D is 6. E is 7, and F is 8. And we can see on the right-hand side that the scenes numbers appear right there, N1 through to N8. So now I'm going to close my key mapping area. We're back to having a browser on that side. And next what I want to do is I want to go right here to the arrangement. Let's press the tab button. And now I want to make sure that when we start recording, we're recording from the very first, the top, from 1, right here, okay? I want to record from 1, so I'm going to start from right there. Perfect. And next what I want to do is go back over here, and I want to get ready to start recording something. So I want to first have to go here, record. I press the overall global record button. Now here, whenever time I fire a scene off, it's going to go at the next bar. That means if I hit a scene number, it won't play until that bar ends. Remember, this is our global command here for our quantizing. So remember that. So now, I think I'm ready. Press record here. We're ready to go. I'm going to press button number 8, and we'll start. And that's it. So, as you can see here, you can see the visual on top. But the only way to really tell is to go right to the arrangement view. I'll press the tab button, and here we go. See, it started from the top, it went further, I'll just stretch it out even more, and now we're going to see the entire arrangement that I just made up. That's pretty cool. And that's how we can record from session view into arrangement view and get our verse, chorus, and bridge. Now, one more thing I'm going to do right now. I can even set up tags, like little markers. I'm going to go here and press, set. Not set, I'll move it up one more time. My little cursor's there. See, I'm pressing my arrow to the right. So I'll go to arrow to the right one more time, and right there, I'll name that. We'll call that, oh, it's a flag there. I'll click on this, now I'll call it the verse. I'll click on that, I'll press Command R on a Mac, and Control R on a PC to name it. I'll call this verse 1. Press enter, it's right there. I'll move my cursor over some more. Move my cursor right here. Yes, there's the cursor. And now, oh, right there, now what I'll do, it turns back up here. Now from right here, I am going to press set again. And now I'll call this chorus. I'll press Command R on my Mac, and it's Control R on the PC, and I'll chorus. 1. And press enter. So we can name each section as well. And if that's the right place you want to move, I don't like that. It sounds, I'm not too sure. You say, I don't know. What? Just check this out. We can move it. Let's go here. Grab it. Move it. Anywhere you want to move it to. Just grab it. Once it's activated, I can move my arrows. See that? The arrows. Left or right, I can move this chorus wherever it wants to go. So it's a really cool way to work in live. It's really great. Like it. It's a great way to record your arrangement in. Plus, we can name and tag anything we want. A lot of times I have to remix something. I'm sitting around, okay, I need a remix, Doc. I said, okay, I'll hook it up for you. And I've discovered something here in live, which is with this recording in the session and going back to the arrangement I like to do. So let's check this out. Now I've got this drum sequence. To make it really quick, make it much easier, I'm just going to go through the drum sequence right here. Here's the drum sequence. I'm going to play it back from the top. And let's trigger it. That's the whole sequence. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take this sequence and chop it up a little bit in different sections. So I have a sequence here. I'm going to press Command D. I'll duplicate. And on a PC, it's Control D. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, 6 pieces. Now, I'm going to take this first piece, which is this top one right here. Make sure that's selected. And I'm going to go here. I'm going to take this and make a little loop that's going to be 2 bars. You can tell because the start starts at 1 here, the end at 3, and right below loop, the position says here, for length, the length is 2 bars. Okay. The next one I'm going to do, for the next 2 bars, I want to get starts right over here at 5. And I want to go from 5 to 7. I make sure it's 2 bars, my length is correct, 5 to 7. That's right. I'm going to go to my next one, which is this one right here. This one, I think I want to get somewhere like maybe from 3 to 4, to 5 rather. See it right there? 3 to 5, that's good. That's good for me right there. That's good. Now I'm going to save that one. I'm going to go to the next one. That's this one right here. I'm going to take this loop, and that was 3 to 5. I'm going to go here, and I want to get 7 to 8. So 7 to 8 right there. So that's 2 measures. 7 to 9, being a 9, but that's 8. It's 2 measures. That's 7 and 8. Now the next one will go here, and I'm going to get some single stuff here. Now I'm going to get one thing here where this ending comes off here. I want to get this 4 to 5, and that's 1 measure. And the last one here, I want to get this last measure here, that 8 measure there. That's good. So I've got them lined up. Next, I'm going to go here to these key maps, and I'm going to select the first scene. I'm going to press my keypad, number 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, then 6. All right, 6 of them right there, okay? I should probably name these things, but for right now, I think I won't. But maybe I'll do that here. Just to give myself some room here. That'll be C. And here, this will be D rather. That'll be D. And this one will be C. And this one will be E. And this one will be F. Good. Now, what I want to do next is set the record here. So we can record in the arrangement window. Now I'm going to go back to my arrangement window. I'm going to open it pressing my tab button. I want to make sure when we start recording, we're starting from the first beat in this window. That's important. I won't start anywhere else but from the beginning. That's good. Now, press the tab button again, and I'm going right back here to my session window. So I think I'm ready here. I'm ready to record. So, well, wait a minute. One more thing I'm going to do. See, this is set to 1 bar. Now, if they were shorter than that, I would probably go for 1/8 notes or quarter notes or 16 notes. But I want to make sure that when I trigger it, 1 bar prior to within that bar, I can trigger it and say, okay, go to the next one. Because this is my universal quantize right here. Alrighty? So let's get started. You can watch everything right here. You'll see as these little triangles go green, which ones I've hit. And I'll start with it right now. Okay, that's it. I stopped it. Now, press my tab key, and here we go. The mix is done right here. So, if you like it, listen back to it. Does that sound good? And this is a great way to sort of like to get those tracks recorded, and also at the same time, get a little remix going, you know? Maybe try it with an audio file and something else. So, that's how it works. That's how we do it. And that's how to sort of remix inside Ableton Live. Understanding the mixer will be the essential way that you're going to learn how to use Ableton's Go Live software. You've got to understand this mixer, understand where inputs and outputs go with using MIDI or audio. And so I'm going to try and explain all this right now for you so you get a better idea and a better handle on how to use it. So here we are. We're in session view. And you can see here in session view I have some tracks going on here, but essentially I'm just going to explain a few things. Now here we have the master. You can see right here's my master right here. The master track is right here. It says master on top here. And the top part of this mixer in the view is called the overview. I'll turn the overview off and see what happens if we move back up again. See that? So back here, overview. So this top part here in the mixer, above the mixer here, is the overview of where all these tracks are, what's ever going on. It's an overview, all right? And to make more room, I tend to do that when I'm mixing. Once I'm ready to go, I might do that. Now, over here, since it's the master track, right here we have the IOs. So this is right here, inputs and outputs. So I click on this, and they're gone, and they're back again. These are our IOs up here. We have our sends and returns. So we can send and return. And here we have our show and hide mixer section. So I can just show or hide it. I'm going to mixture back in. Now here we have some audio tracks. See audio in, audio in. I already have them labeled as audio ready for you, 1 through 5, and MIDI 6 through 7. Now you notice here in the MIDI track that there's no audio. And that's primarily because there isn't a plug-in at the top that's an audio plug. So it'd be an audio plug-in, that means it would be an instrument, and then these MIDI files in here would play the sound of those instruments. Once it's plugged in, though, you'll see that. And we'll do that right now. We're going to grab a wind instrument, and we're going to move the wind instrument over here. Whoops, put it right there. And now it's in there, and you'll see here, we now have faders to go up and down for this wind instrument. Because it's an instrument, these are the MIDI files. Once this plays, it'll play into the instrument. Instrument will then send a sound out, and that sound will come out through the audio down here and sent to the master. So this goes to the master. Now you notice the other MIDI track next to it, MIDI track, it's a 7 MIDI. This one here has no output. So to do the same thing, I would just do that here also as well. Let me just do this. Okay. Now I will probably take this and drag this over here and put it right there. And then for the other part here, which is actually a drum part, I'm pressing my up arrows here, drum rack, press my right arrow, go down, right arrow again, and get an MPC type drum right here. Let's try this Lin drum. And you'll notice that track already, 6, it's just showing MIDI data. So now I'm going to go back here. I'm going to drag the Lin drum and put it up here. And you'll notice it'll turn from MIDI. Whoops, let's put it back in again. Oh, there we go. And now it'll take a little while to put it in there, I guess. Spin, there it is. We got it in there. And now you'll see right here, this has become an audio track. Okay. So we have audio in and we have MIDI in. Now for a MIDI track, slide over here. I have the machine here, for example. And so we have its MIDI coming in through USB. And here, I can select MIDI from any one of these 3 MIDI tracks. I can go here where it says kick, papery, and this is the Akai Lin. I can select MIDI input. Now, generally, I leave this open and say all channels because I generally have just one input. And it probably could be this machine, or it could be my Auxium Pro 61 keyboard, which we're sending MIDI data into live. But if you got something specific you're doing doing multiple instruments at the same time, then I would suggest you say, okay, you'll say, I'm taking from machine in one. And another one, you'll say, okay, I'm taking this next one from right here, from Auxium Pro. But generally, if I'm only using this one input, I'm going to just take one input in. So I don't have to worry about that. It's going to get whatever it hears. So if I'm only playing one instrument, it's going to receive that. If I'm playing multiple instruments, it's going to receive that as well. So that's why I don't worry about it. Now, the subgroup of that would be, for example, I may take the multiple ends. I might just only want to get MIDI channel 1 or MIDI channel 2, depending on my setup and what I plan to do here. So be aware of that also as well. But in this case, I'm using all channels because I'm using one channel coming in. I'm only going to play one particular pattern at a time on any one MIDI channel in this particular instance. But the audio that comes in from this Akai Lin will go directly to the master. So the MIDI is in the track, but the MIDI triggers the audio and then it sends it back out through the master. Now in an audio track, here we have these files and these samples, and they'll be audio. And so what'll happen, it comes straight through the system. There's no MIDI involved here. And so we have this external in. And we have it, we can configure it as always. And we have here, I also can have my Melodyne come in. I have reasons, I can bring reasons in as well, or record, which is part of reasons. I can resample. So resample means I can resample it if I'm playing. I can have something in here that a beat I made up, and I want to resample it back into the track. We can resample. And we'll cover that later on as well. Here we have audio 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 6, 7. We got a machine audio. So this is the audio from the Akai. So it's showing the audios that we have available. That's like down the row here, actually. And then it shows also the returns we have available. So we have a small room and a dotted eighth note delay. So you'll see all your returns right here. And you'll see all the inputs right here. Now here for the reasons track, for the machine track, the same thing. And then I have the audio would come in here as well. I can have sends only as well here, which you can see right there. Sends only. So they all feed the master. So when these sounds come in, They're all feeding into this one thing, which is the master right here. And the master is the overwhelming control of all the audio going in or out of the entire system. Now, below that, right here we have our sends and returns. The one thing I want to explain to you about this monitor right here is that if I press this monitor here, I can monitor the input coming in. That's a monitor input. So you see a little microphone here, so someone's talking, I got a microphone on, and I'm not recording them. I can press this monitor button, and I will hear the audio coming in. Now I can monitor what's going on. But when I am recording, I will be here, and I'll just press record. Because now it's going to be auto recording. It comes in, it's recording directly into the system. Or I can turn the monitor off altogether and not monitor anything coming in through this track. And the same works here through the MIDI track because we are using a plug-in at the top, a musical plug-in, which is an instrument, and then that would be just triggered by the MIDI. And that would come in there also as well. Now, below that, as I said before, we have the sends and returns, where we can send something out, something comes back in. I can send this out to send A. Send A is right here. Here's send A. And when it gets there, there's already a wire in the back of send A, sending it right back into the system. So when I'm actually sending the send A, I'm sending that sound in there, and that sound's going in and coming back out. So it's going in here and coming back out of there to here. So I will hear the reverb. It'll be a complete circle for the reverb. Now below it we have our pan, so I can pan any track, left or right. And here's our fader, our volume fader. And the fader is used to adjust and display the track's output signal level. Okay? And the peak level and RMS. Plus, I can click and drag to adjust the track. So boom, here we go. Click and drag, adjust it, let it go. Now here we have our track activator. So for example, it's active, it's not active now. It's on, it's off. Activated. Here's our solo. Now the solo switch is in a session. You'll notice that when it's in, I can put it on there. I was like, put it on. Can't do that. Can't do this. But if I hold down Command and click on the solo button, I can solo all the tracks I want to solo. I can hit it one time, and they're all off. So be aware of that. That setting can be set up here through the preference. Right here, preferences, we have it here. We have record, warp, launch. Now here I have solo and arm, exclusive. So I'm exclusively set up for solo. If I go to arm, and I close this, pressing escape, and I go back here to solo, and I press Command to solo again, I can do it. And it allows me to have the ability to do this for all my tracks. Now below here, we have record. As you can see, this is record right here. This is record for MIDI. So you notice MIDI is like a little clock. And here's just a little black and out record button. It's red with a little black hole in the middle to record with.